overactive pelvic floor during pregnancy. Do they matter? Do you have overactive pelvic floor? These are the questions I answer in this episode today. So if you're pregnant, if you're not sure about whether or not you've got overactive pelvic floor, then this is the episode for you, because pelvic floor tone, pelvic floor activity, how strong they are, their ability to relax, it can impact birth and recovery. Just to put it simply so we're all on the same page, strong pelvic floor muscles can help to keep us dry, keep our organs supported, and can help with our pelvic health. We also want these pelvic floor muscles to be able to relax appropriately, and this can really help with the pushing process. So as a pelvic floor physio, I'm often assessing someone's pelvic floor tone and helping them with their pelvic floor awareness, and if they need support to learn how to reduce that activity in their pelvic floor, because a lot of the time they are overactive, we can help with the pushing techniques and pelvic floor activity too. So I just wanted to jump on here and say this episode today, if you're pregnant, if you're interested in having a vaginal birth and you either suspect you've got overactive pelvic floor or you're not sure if you've got overactive pelvic floor and you want to learn more, then this episode is for you. If you are pregnant or you've recently had a baby, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Kath Bequee. I'm a physiotherapist working in women's health and mum of 3. Inside my online program, Fitness Mama, I help women feel confident and strong inside out as they navigate pregnancy, birth, and postnatal recovery. Each week, I bring you 2 episodes to support you on your motherhood journey, whether it's real and raw birth stories from fellow mums, expert interviews with trusted health professionals, or bite-sized Q&As where I answer your most common questions. It is possible to feel amazing in your body during this stage of life, and I want that for you. Come and say hi on Instagram at kathbequee.physio, and let's dive into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the Pregnancy, Birth and Recovery podcast. So today I am answering one of your questions, and this question is actually a member inside Fitness Mama, and inside our program, I jump on a call every week to answer any of the members' questions. And I thought I'd share this one today because I know it's relevant for a lot of people who might be listening. So the question is, hi Kath, I am currently 16 weeks pregnant. How do we know if we have issues with overactivity, tight pelvic floor muscles, or should we be doing pelvic floor exercises? Is this known as Kegel exercises? Also, how long after giving birth should this exercise be taken up to assist with the tightening up of the vagina to prevent looseness from birth? So let's recap this question. They want to know how do we know if we've got issues with overactivity and tight pelvic floor? And this is a fabulous question. How do we know if we should be doing pelvic floor exercises? That's another great question. Are these known as Kegels? That's a third question. And then 4th, at what stage postpartum should we be doing these exercises? So let's break this down. First question was, how do we know if we've got issues with overactive and tight pelvic floor muscles? So this has evolved in the last 6 months. And stay tuned. So first of all, if you've got any of these symptoms, go and have an assessment with pelvic floor physio. And I just actually want to preface this with, this is general information only, as is every episode of this podcast. It doesn't substitute independent assessment, diagnosis, and treatment. So please, if you've got any questions or concerns about your pelvic floor or health or fitness or anything at all relating to pregnancy, postpartum, please go and see your healthcare professional for a one-on-one assessment. So this is general information. So generally, signs of pelvic floor overactivity might include constipation, so chronic constipation, having to strain on the toilet to open the bowels. Secondly, painful intercourse. Thirdly, you might find it difficult putting in a tampon. Perhaps another sign that you might have overactive pelvic floor is that you've had chronic pelvic pain. So perhaps you've had a history of endometriosis, or any pain around the pelvis, so interstitial cystitis, like there's a lot of conditions of the pelvis which might cause or not necessarily cause overactivity, but be associated with pelvic floor overactivity. And I should actually just quickly say, and I should have said this as a start, so that we're all on the same page. I'm talking very general terms, but generally speaking, pelvic floor muscles, those muscles that wrap around all the openings that form the floor of our pelvis, these muscles, generally speaking, and putting it really simplistically, they can be weak or they can be activated like strong muscles, or they can be overactive, which means there's sort of like an underlying muscle tension. And it might be that they can't fully relax or they have a bit more difficulty with that relaxation. You can also have weak and overactive pelvic floor. So it's not that simple. And that's why it's good to have that individual assessment. So let's recap. Constipation, painful intercourse, difficulty putting in a tampon, any chronic pain, pelvic pain, endometriosis. The other one is, and these are, I guess, a little bit more controversial, but potentially athletes, people who are massive on running, just like they might have high muscle tone everywhere in their body, and they might need to do extra stretches because um, they're really active and they're really strong, and we want that focus on relaxation. So that's one thing. I'm not saying all athletes and all runners have overactive pelvic floor, but it's, one of those potential situations. The other one is if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, or perhaps there's, like, I do feel humans, we all are stressed at times. We're all anxious at times, and we all hold the tension in our body in different ways. Some of us screw up our forehead muscles, and we might have our frowning muscles happening. Others might feel the tension around their jaw. Others might develop neck pain, and if they're stressed at work, feel that they get the shoulder, neck pain, tightness, and migraines. Some of us hold the tension in our lower tummy muscles. I do think social media and that perception that we need to suck in our tummy absolutely can contribute to overactive pelvic floor. If we've been sucking in our tummy our whole life, there's probably a high potential of overactive pelvic floor. And lately, this is the new one I'm adding to the list. There is a trend out there, TikTok, viral Instagram, pelvic floor videos. And there's a lot of them by physios. And I've done pelvic floor reels as well. If you look at my Instagram feed, I hereby am being very cautious how many pelvic floor exercises I put into my reel compared to how many pelvic floor relaxation exercises I'm putting into my reels. Because what I'm finding, more and more women are coming to see me in the clinic who have been following these TikTok viral pelvic floor exercise videos, perhaps for the whole of their pregnancy, and they might have the wrong muscle action and they're not actually fully lifting and fully relaxing. And so they're tense in their pelvic floor muscles all the time. I've also seen, just last week, I had a woman come in and she could only lift her pelvic floor as she exhaled. So she went, and then she lifted her pelvic floor. She couldn't lift her pelvic floor any other time. So she had to be, there was no dissociation between her breath, her breathing, and her pelvic floor. And if we think about it, we want our pelvic floor to be responsive when we're standing, when we're walking, when we're running, when we're lifting, when we're coughing. We can't just think, oh, I've only got strong pelvic floor when I exhale, and because that's not real life. So we want to be really wary about who we're following, what we're following, and why we're doing what we're doing. Like, we're all busy. Do we really need extra pelvic floor exercises if you don't perhaps need it for your situation? And if you haven't had a baby before, and here I am, I'm saying it, if you first pregnancy, you've never been through birth before, if I had to put money on it, I would say your pelvic floor are overactive and not weak. Yet here we are doing more and more pelvic floor exercises, more than ever before. And it's almost flipped the other way, where the majority of women I'm seeing in the clinic now have pelvic floor overactivity rather than pelvic floor weakness. Post-birth is a whole different situation, and there could be genuine pelvic floor weakness post-birth, but I'm talking about if you're pregnant for the first time ever, don't make the assumption, let's say you've got a bit of accidental leaking when you're coughing or sneezing or laughing, don't make the assumption it's because you have weak pelvic floor. There's a lot of other things that might be causing a bit of accidental leaking, whether coughing, sneezing, or laughing during pregnancy. And overactive pelvic floor can absolutely contribute to that too. So that's why if you've got any leaking, please do go and see your local pelvic floor physio. I'm based in Hawthorne, Melbourne, if you live close by. So I'm working at Hatched House, beautiful clinic here in Melbourne. So yes, go and seek that help. So that was the first part of the question. The second part of the question was, should we be doing pelvic floor exercises? And I will skip to the next one, is this known as Kegel exercises? So my understanding is Kegel exercises is pretty much an American term used for pelvic floor exercises. And I'm pretty sure Kegels are mostly just the short lifts, the quick lifts. So when I talk about pelvic floor exercises, I talk about the range of pelvic floor exercises. So it's quick lifts, there's strength holds, there are endurance holds, and there's the relaxation component too. Whereas to my current knowledge, Kegels are just the lifts. So hopefully that clears it up. Now, should all women who are pregnant be doing these pelvic floor exercises? Maybe, maybe not. So your particular situation might be like, this is where we can't put a blanket rule on it. And this is why I have stopped. Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to stop these forever, but I am very aware if I'm doing a reel, and I've been shocking with my reels lately. I do apologize on Instagram. But when I do a pelvic floor reel, I won't say, come and do these exercises with me. I'll always preface them with, these are for you if, or these are not for you if. So yeah, hopefully makes sense. It's like saying all women should go to the gym and do this one exercise only. Like, it's just, there's a whole range of exercises we need for, overall strength. You don't want to just be doing leg exercises, for example, or just doing arm exercises, or just core and abs. We want to be doing all the postural work, stretches, like to have a good holistic gym program or exercise program, you want to work all the things and focus on the whole body, not just one specific area. And that's the same as pelvic floor. It's not just about strength. It's not just about the quick lifts. It's not about the long holds. It's also about relaxation. And this gets forgotten about. The best thing you can be doing for your pelvic floor during pregnancy is, drum roll, it's exercising, just staying strong, staying fit, staying active. I don't mean exercising pelvic floor. I mean general exercise, general moving of the body. In one of the most recent research updates, that was one of the best indicators for that postpartum recovery, was how much we move our body in pregnancy. And I know that's easier said than done. And I know sometimes we're feeling nauseous and sick and tired and we don't have the energy and we're busy, and I get it. And this is where I really do wholeheartedly believe in my bones that pregnancy and postpartum, it's a time where we want to rejuvenate our bodies. We don't want to be depleting our bodies. If we're already energy deprived, let's change up your exercise routine perhaps, and do exercises that are going to fill up your bucket, not deplete you further. So yes, anyway, that's what Fitness Mama is all about too. It's a whole range of different exercises depending on where you're at. If you've got pelvic girdle pain, we've got pelvic girdle pain friendly workouts. If you're nauseous and feeling unwell in the first trimester, there's actually exercises that are being built for if you're nauseous. They're really basic, beautiful stretches and rejuvenating movements. So just anyway, I'm digressing. I know I am. So the final part of the question is, how long after giving birth should these exercises, pelvic floor exercises, be taken up to assist with the tightening of the vagina to prevent looseness from birth? I do just want to say it's more, I feel, I don't often use this sort of language because the way, here I am, I haven't prepared this part of the question. So let me try to say it in a way. When we're talking about tightening up of the vagina and preventing looseness, I feel this concept is very male-oriented. The way I like to approach postnatal rehab is about supporting the women's pelvic health and the women's postnatal recovery. So if for you that is really important for you, absolutely. We can talk about ways to tighten up the vagina, but I do also want to say it's not just about pelvic floor exercises. Pelvic floor exercises after birth can absolutely help enhance sexual pleasure. It can help to reduce the leaking aspect. It can help to support you structurally if there's any signs of prolapse, but it might not be only about pelvic floor muscles. That's where other things might be at play. And I think that's where I don't want to dive into the details. That's where you really need your individual assessments so that the physio you're seeing can assess structurally, how is everything? Are there any signs of prolapse? How is the fascial connections? How's the structure? That's as far as I'll go into it. But then they can also assess the strength. And depending on where you're at in your goals, then a pelvic floor rehab and a postnatal rehab program can result. So I think I'm done. That was a relatively long answer to a pretty short question, but it was actually quite a detailed question. So thank you so much for asking the question. And I hope this has given you a bit of food for thought. Sure, you might have I like to say, when you have your baby, everyone's at different starting points. If you've had a cesarean, you'll be at a different starting point. If you've had a tear, like a 3rd and 4th degree perineal tear, and you've had to have all the stitches and the repair, you'll be at a different starting point. If you've had a relatively smooth birth with no tear, you'll be at a different starting point. But wherever your starting point, I know, and I want you to know that there is so much help available for you to reach whatever goals you want to reach and whatever you want to be able to achieve, whether or not that's running a marathon next year, or just playing with your kids at the park with confidence and feeling good in your body. That's it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. If you want to come and join us inside Fitness Mama, if you would like access to support, more one-on-one support with myself as a physio, where I jump on and answer all your questions and help to guide you in the right direction. If you would like app with those pregnancy postnatal workouts to help you confidently feel good during pregnancy and support your postnatal recovery, come and trial our 7-day free trial, fitnessmama.com. And the link is in the show notes. That's it, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll chat to you soon. Thanks for listening to the Pregnancy, Birth and Recovery podcast, brought to you by Fitness Mama, your app for home-based, physio-led pregnancy and postnatal workouts. If you found this episode helpful, please tap follow, leave a quick review, and share it to your stories. Tag at kathbequee.physio. I'd love to connect and cheer you on. And don't forget to check out the free trial at fitnessmama.com/free to start feeling confident, strong, and supported today. Until next time, remember, a strong body, a confident birth, and empowered recovery is something you deserve. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please consult your healthcare provider for your personalised guidance.